Hi guys, welcome to yet another Vuvu Vena reads vlog. I don't know when I started doing that, and I don't know why I do it, but it always feels right. So of all the books that I was meant to pick up this weekend, and I told you guys on Friday what I was picking up, I somehow ended up picking this up. So I'm reading Sue Nyathi's The Polygamist. I like it because it's nice and short. I started it this morning. I'm on page 42, and I thought that I would come on here and vlog the experience with you. So the book is all of it's all of 193 pages long. I was hoping to finish it today, but I had a few things to do, and I'm only free again now, and the time is 3:30. Hopefully I will, well, it's 22:04 and it looks like it's gonna rain, so it's cozy weather for reading, but hopefully I will get through it this evening, I'm hoping, because I'm not gonna do anything else. I thought I was gonna watch something just now, but I changed my mind. So I'm just gonna clear up my room because I did have a little bit of a shooting situation earlier. I haven't shot new content for you guys, I don't want to lie. I'm still working something out in my head, but I do owe you guys content. I am aware of that, and I will be serving you some content, so you don't have to remind a girl. So obviously you guys have probably heard, let me not say obviously, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about this book already. I picked it up because I wanted to read her first book before I picked up her sophomore book, because usually I think you can tell a lot about an author on her second book if you've read her first book. So this, so far, it has impressed me for a debut. As you can see, I've got some bookmarks here, and basically my thoughts so far is just how, as women, unbeknown to us, we are to some level always gatekeeping patriarchy, whether we see it or not, whether we see ourselves as powerful or not. There is something in us that's always, I don't want to say apologizing on behalf of the man, but always accepting the flaws of males as opposed to females, and always casting or laying the blame on the foot of the female in situations of infidelity, of broken trust, or of any of that kind of thing. And basically all these tabs that you're seeing here are just moments where I just noticed just how natural it is for women to side with men, or how naturally it comes out in this book that women are on the male side, and it's not necessarily something that one should applaud, but I like how she brings it up, and I'm enjoying this so far. So let me not say too much before I run out of battery, which I don't think I will, and run out of time, which I might. So let me just tidy up my room, go get myself a tall glass of water, and sit right here and read. Okay, so I want my vlogs to be more vocal, not just me sitting here and reading and then giving you feedback at the end. In any case, that's the use, well, that's the point of these, for me at least. Guys, I just bit myself, that's why I'm speaking like this. Anyway, let me catch you up. So I guess this is Mr. Gomorrah. His name is Jonasi, and he married a girl. He got married when he was 21, I want to say, to Joyce, who was 16 at the time. He was a nobody. Joyce was the child of a politician in Zimbabwe at the time. He was still in university. They got married because she was pregnant. Fast forward to current time, they moved up the social ladder, the poverty ladder, the class ladder, sorry, and now he's a wealthy man with a listed company, and she's the mother of 4, and he is now practically in a second marriage with one of his employees and is treating this woman like shit. So not the employee, not the new lover, the wife. And he wanted a divorce. Her wife Joyce decided that no, she is not going to divorce, and that is from advice that she got from her mom as well, that these men do this, and you can't give up all that hard work of having helped this man attain what he has attained and just walk out of his life for nothing, and somebody else reaps the rewards. The new girl's name is Matipa. Okay, so I think that's as much as you need to know right now, because I want to make some commentary. For a year, this guy has been living with the new girl, and the kids even know the new girl now, because one day Joyce decided that since the father's not coming home, she's gonna drop the kids off there, hoping to startle them, hoping that this girl would see what she's in for. Instead, it brought them even closer, and now it formed a relationship between this new girl and the kids. At some point, Joyce lost her mind, bumped into this girl at a clothing store, overheard her talking about her husband and how Joyce was basically out of the picture when she wasn't, and she hit her, which was I think the catalyst to their strong relationship. So the way that the strong relationship between Matipa and what's his name, Jonasi is described as a typical womanizer slash stallion slash wealthy man, and who is actually doesn't give two hoots about this wife, which is why I'm still struggling to understand why she's still here. So now she's plotting new ways in which society shouldn't forget that she's still the wife, whereas her husband is publicly in a relationship with somebody else, even being featured in newspapers in pictures with this somebody else, and she's no longer in the picture, but she is adamant that she's not getting divorced and the world will know that she's still the wife. What I'm not getting is why she's not letting it go, because the way that this guy said, he said there's nothing that you're gonna want for. Our kids won't want for anything. You can have anything that you want, but basically I'm in love with somebody else and I want a divorce. So it's been a year, she hasn't signed these divorce papers. I guess this woman is losing her mind. Here she is planning a 17-year anniversary with a man she hasn't lived with for more than a year, who is publicly parading an affair. Guys, okay, to some degree, if this is about social standing, right, because they are upper class high society individuals, or rather a couple that is considered to be in the, sorry, I'm seeing the lightning outside, it's actually raining, in the higher circles of society. Maybe she's trying to save face or trying to prove a point, but this invitation is killing me. It's written, Joyce and Jonasi Gomorrah cordially invite whoever it is to celebrate their 17th wedding anniversary. It's been 17 fabulous years. Come celebrate with us, J and J. How is it fabulous, my darling? All of the world knows that it's not fabulous. I think I like Sue Nyathi, actually. I like her. And then after the invitation it says, for good measure, I even sent one to Matipa. The mistress is being invited to the anniversary. Wow, the gall, the guts. Okay, this story is gonna get interesting, and The writer just called me out, so let me just read this part and go back to this book and actually read it with different eyes. So just okay, for good measure, I sent one to Madiba just to remind her that she was hallucinating if she thought she could bulldoze a 17-year marriage. I can just see you rolling your eyes thinking what a pathetic excuse I am for a woman, that if you were in my shoes you would have packed your bags and left a long time ago. The thing is, you are not in love with Jonasi. Jonasi is got the goods, babes, because and yes, I don't know, he's got something spicy up with Jonasi. Aye. This mother also, she's always misleading this child. I can't, like, I don't understand. Like, she declares things on which she knows nothing about. Like, how do you know what the next person's going to do? Guaranteeing her child the reactions that she is craving for from somebody that she doesn't even know will give said reactions. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Yeah, guys, I don't know what I'm reading. I really don't know what I'm reading. I don't know, guys, about this man that Sue Nyathi has written here, but he leaves these women mad, insane, crazy. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. They can't live without him. I almost say they can't live with him, but I'd be lying. They can live with him. They just can't live without him. And he's just playing them, man. Like, I don't understand. He's just hopping between one girl and the next. Well, not and the next, because right now it's just the wife and the mistress, but he's treating them like shit. And they are like, they've pulled out a knife and fork to eat his shit. That's what they've done. They're eating his shit with chopsticks is what they're doing. You know, I did read at the beginning of the story when Joyce was recounting her life with Jonasi, that in fact there are 4 women. We were just introduced to the first one. Obviously Joyce is telling the story, so we were introduced to the first one, even though I think that the perspective is from the woman's side. Yeah, it's from the different women's side, but I wasn't expecting to see. I thought that like number 3 and 4 would be a story told in passing. We've just met woman number 3. And you were right, guys. And you were right. Her name is Essie, by the way. Essie. You know, the story is the kind of story that makes you feel like having some wine, some snacks, you know. I am eating clean. I am eating clean. But this weather, I will say, might get me to have a glass of whiskey later on. It depends. If I can ignore the craving, I will, but if I can't, this book deserves some whiskey. Okay, let me just say that it deserves a drink. Red wine would have been ideal, but whiskey will do. The new girl is definitely more street smart than Joyce and Matipa, and she's, I guess, probably the one who's more experienced than the others, in the sense that her reaction towards Jonasi does acknowledge that this person's got some pull on her, but then she's still more powerful in her interaction with him. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, she's not desperate, she's not begging to be seen. Like, I don't know. I want to read a line, but I can't remember if it was in the prologue or what. But they did describe this guy as basically being so irresistible and so charming that you'd have to be made of something else for you not to want this person in your life. And he's good in bed, he's wealthy, he smells nice, he drives fancy cars, he owns a listed company, like I said, he's a looker, and he seems to have everything that I guess a girl would be looking for in a guy and more, because clearly he's also got charisma of some level. But the first 2 ladies, Joyce the wife and Matipa the mistress, have had this kind of sense of pining, and I want to say they put him on this pedestal that is obviously gratifying to his ego, but also quite dangerous to do. Whereas Essie, who we've just been introduced to, she's not living the high life in suburban Zimbabwe, but she chose to live the high life in the township where she grew up, because she wanted people to see that she'd made it. But even her demeanor is not like, she's hardcore, man. She's street smart. She's just like all right, your games and tricks may play with other women, but Mina, I'm not part of this charade. And I think that the way that so far Sue has depicted her is stronger than the other two ladies, but it doesn't seem like she's immune to Jonas's spell either. So, and yes guys, I don't know if anyone has ever met, actually leave a comment down below if you've ever met a man. Leave a comment down below if you've ever met a man like Jonasi, because I am beginning to wonder if men like this actually exist. And I don't understand if they do exist. I mean, like, why are you getting married and why are you getting into these commitments? And like, why don't you just live your life as a bachelor and do as you please? Why are you dragging these women along this pathetic life that you're creating? And don't get me wrong, also these women have their flaws, so don't get me wrong, but I think that the biggest shock in the story is just this man, that and the things that he does. He's just shocking. So I made myself a drink, and I wanted to come let you guys know that Essie is a kept wife. Yes, you heard me right, I said wife. Essie is the second wife. She is the only one who knows that she is the second wife. She and her family, because we didn't hear Joyce talking about no second wife. And she stays in the township while Joyce enjoys her life in the suburbs, thinking she's the only Mrs. Gomorrah. And little does she know that she's not the first love, and she's not the only Mrs. Gomorrah. Lobola was paid for Essie, and Essie is living in the townships and had 2 kids by this man, and Joyce is clueless. I'm not sure who the wronged woman is here, because Essie is fully aware of everything that her husband is, and she's also got her own skeletons in the closet. So it seems like they've got an understanding, whereas I don't think that's what he has with Joyce. Obviously that's not what he has with Joyce, because we're discovering this. But this man, guys, I don't know. I have no idea. And we've also discovered that he's abusive. He has, I don't even want to say hit, because that's not even the word. That's not even the word. He's hit Essie a few times in their relationships, to the point where one of the times she actually got admitted in hospital, which is shameful. I don't know if we come to expect a lot out of human beings. I mean, this person, throughout this book, we've been seeing what kind of man he is, but still, I didn't see the abuse that occurred here. It was more than just a beat down. Something else did happen in the story, in their story together. And the thing is, one would think that it's a power thing, that it is a rich man, whatever, but the things that he did to this woman were before he had money. Anyway, my battery's flashing. I'll continue reading and catch up with you guys once I'm fully charged. I just thought I'd come in to say there is no end to the surprises of Jonas Gomorrah. So it's now almost 7 minutes to 8, and I had that discussion at 6. We kind of went over an hour. We're discussing home with the wife, so that went well. I am still reading Sue's book, and I'm at the halfway mark now. So I'm on page 99. the book is 193 pages long, and we've met a girl number 4, and this guy is not only cheating and acquiring women, he's also acquiring kids. And for me, there's a sense of, I'm really trying to understand who this book is written for and who it's about. And the thing is, I'm not saying that because it might not be clear. It's very ambiguous to me at this point. If it's written for women, for us to see ourselves in the women that are involved with, I always want to call him a different name, Jonasi, or is it for men to see the effects of males like Jonasi, or is it for both parties, like both genders, to see what our society has become with these kind of relationships? I'm really not sure, but for all his attributes and the things that are described to make this man, he's really not a likable person. And there are books that I've read that have antagonists that you can end up liking and perhaps even defending their wrongdoings. This man is just vile. Like, there's no defense, there's no liking him. And I think the more women he acquires, the more arrogant he gets. It's just disgusting. And kudos to Sue for getting that kind of emotion out, because I'm like, nasty, just plain nasty. Anyway, so I've got just under 100 pages to go, so I am really still hoping to finish this tonight. Oh, sorry, my daughter is complaining because she wants some time, so I'm gonna push. And like I'm saying, I don't want to be touching this book tomorrow, so I'm gonna push to finish. If she's still up, they do sleep quite late, at around about 10ish, 11ish. Bad mom, judge if you want. But so if she's still up, she's definitely then spending the night in my room, because she's really been clingy of late. And it's fine, she can demand her time. It is her time. I'm borrowing her time. So let me just continue reading this. You know, I'm also thinking that the women in this story have, I don't want to say they're broken, like they've experienced certain things of life that human beings should just not have to experience, right? And I think something about that makes them very vulnerable, and in that vulnerability it makes them easy prey for men like Jonasi. I'm just saying that these women are not women who don't have a past. So I think that the fact that they are in a world seeking for something, whether it's validation or a place to be vulnerable, has landed them in the situation. And as I'm saying it, I'm aware that there isn't a single human being who hasn't had their life tainted by the time that they come of age or are in their early 20s. But for some reason, they, at least 3 of them, have a sense of, okay, life is messed up. There's nothing I can do about that. Life is messed up. I might as well get mine. And I think they go into this relationship with Jonasi thinking that they are getting theirs, whereas when the entanglement starts to tangle itself around them, they are worse off in a sense than they were when they were without him. Anyway, this is just me trying to understand the 4th lady in the story that we've just been introduced to. So I'm always fascinated by characters that don't have a sense of consequence. Jonasi is devoid of the consequence of his actions. And and I'm aware that he knows that he's powerful, in the sense that he's got financial power over these women. Maybe he also knows that he is a good-looking man, but there's something else there that I feel like he would still be who he was even if he didn't have the power of money backing him up. And probably it would be harder if he didn't have his looks, because maybe women wouldn't give him as much attention as they do now. But something tells me that it's not something that was born off money. I don't know. He's just a terrible person. What fascinates me is the fact that woman number 3, right? Because we discovered that Joyce is not actually woman number 1. There was a woman before her who got married after her. Okay, so let's call her woman number 1. So woman number 2 is the lady in the township, and then woman number 3 is Matipa, who's had her encounters and provocations with Joyce. She also carried herself with such arrogance, because which kind of made you feel like she didn't think that what she had done to Joyce anybody else would ever do to her. Little did she know, because here we are now. Little did she know. Girl number 4 is also, it's just a female form of Jonasi. It's just that she's not married. She has, yeah, I don't know if we can justify her background, because she does share a bit of her background in her story about how she got to meet Jonasi. But I really think that he's met his match in girl number 4, and I'm also a little bit concerned, and obviously that was, I think, the intention of the author as well, about the philandering in this story, as well as the sexual encounters that are reckless, to say the least, especially for people who are fully aware that they've got multiple partners. There is no sense of responsibility or regard for their partners who they leave at home, like your Joyces, and in this girl's case, the guy that she deems to be her boyfriend. There's just no sense of responsibility or effort to try and protect those people from the lifestyle that they are choosing to live. And I guess it's a true what's this, she's calling out something that is true in society as it is, because a lot of people that are in relationships with people who are in relationships with other people as well tend to be a little bit more reckless than people that are faithful in their relationships, if that even made any sense. Alright, by the way, this fourth woman is quite young. I think she's still a teenager, which is concerning, let's be honest. Let me just read you guys this line just to prove my point, because this is after a steamy raunchy I won't say it's a sex scene, because we really don't, she doesn't, I like that she doesn't say too much, but she says enough. That's fine. Then she says, Jonasi and I don't use condoms. I only use condoms with men who insist, and trust me, most of them don't. Goes back to my point. This is somebody with a boyfriend who's sleeping with a whole lot of other men, and this is somebody with 3 wives who's sleeping with a whole lot of other women, and neither of them see the need to even protect themselves. This man is a problem, guys. Like, I'm defrustrated because, wow. So this new girl asks about the second wife, the one that lives in the township, Essie. So she says, because Jonasi basically told the new girl that he's not looking for a wife, and he's done getting married. He's got 3 wives, 8 kids between the 3, and basically that's it for him. He's not having any more kids. So because this new girl knows about all these wives, I guess he feels free to talk about them in her presence or with her, and so he happened to have mentioned them in a conversation that they're having now. And then she asks what the second wife is like, what Ace is like, and I can see now going down on this page that he's gonna start talking about all of the wives. Maybe I can read you guys that section, but it's the first time that Jonasi is having an interaction with somebody other than these 3 women about his views on them. And the first thing out of his mouth, the first thing about his wife, whom he hardly sees, whom he is practically neglected, to the point of we as readers don't know about the second wife until we found out about the 3rd potential wife. Like, okay, anyway, so the girl asks, what's Essie like? I was curious about Jonasi's wives. I knew I would never meet them, but there was no harm in asking. Essie is the fattest of all my wives. She wasn't always fat. She used to be like you. Actually, you kind of remind me of her in a way. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. Joyce is the most beautiful of the 3. She has class. Joyce polished me into the black diamond I am. I used to be rough around the edges. He laughed at his own joke, and I laughed with him. And Madiba? I knew about Madiba because she called a lot, and he would say that was Madiba. Ah, Madiba. She's not a conventional beauty. There's something unique and interesting about her. Very intelligent girl. There are not many smart women out there, but she's sharp. She'll do great things in life. I was afraid to ask about me. What was his take on me? Anyway, it did not matter. I was there to enjoy Jonasi and all he had to offer. This person is literally going through life collecting women. Like, it's a prized possession, and he feels as though certain attributes deem them worthy of him. Like, I actually don't know how Sue managed to write this book. Like, if a character like this ever visited me as an author, I would have struggled so much to write him into pages, because I'm not hungry, but I'm just so disgusted. And I think part of my disgust is that this could be so true for real life, that it's really not even funny. It's hard for it's yeah, I think it could be very real for real life, and it's one of those that you can't laugh it away. There are Jonases in life, as there are all these other women, Joyces, Essies, Matipas, and this new girl, I forget her name. All of them exist. So I think that Sue's done well to explore the HIV topic in a very healthy, in a very fresh manner. And I think that it is a topic that got tied in a lot of books in the early 90s, and books that we still pick up these days, and we might find we are struggling to get the true impact of that narrative, of those kind of narratives. But she's done it so well with this, and it's a concern that comes up even before she introduces it herself, because there's a dialogue that just happened between Joyce's sister and mother about HIV and AIDS, let me put it that way. And it was, you could almost say that the entire book was a build up to that conversation. So by the time that it came, it was already a concern to the reader, which is something that is quite well done. I will commend her for that. And there was something else, sorry, that I wanted to say, but it's escaped me. Oh, I know. What I wanted to say is I can't for a minute comprehend what goes on in the minds of the children of people whose infidelity is performed for a public spectacle. So these children that Joyce has were old enough or grew up knowing that the father is in a relationship with a mistress, and now they have to play sibling to this mistress's who's no longer a mistress children. And I get the sense from how the kids are written that 3 of them, or at least 2, have a sense of a sense of animosity towards the mother, because this is happening to her. Like, it's the weirdest thing, as though she could make her husband not do the things that he is doing. So they are angrier at her than they are at him, or rather they're expressing their anger towards her more than they're expressing their anger towards the father, which is quite fascinating and sad at the same time. the end. It is something to midnight. Had a little minor episode with the kids. I don't even know why they were crying and fighting, so I had to stop reading for a while, but not a long while, for a little bit, to tend to that. But I'm done. I don't even know how to react. But what an interesting story. And obviously it's evident, it's not one of those that you have to figure out what it is the author is trying to bring to the fore. It's evident that she is trying to highlight the impact of polygamy in the modern day and how it is utilized in the modern day sense, as well as infidelity, because in the manner in which the main character pursues his subsequent wives is not what I have been told is done in traditional polygamous families. So this has a very high sense of infidelity, and this is what modern day people assume polygamy should be. I once attended a forum of women who actually were in polygamous marriages, and it was elderly women. I don't remember the area, but it was somewhere here in Joburg. I had attended that for a story, and the discussions basically that they were having is that it is not the husband that chooses the second wife or the third wife or whatever. It's actually the first wife that points out a woman of good standing in the community for the husband to marry. So I think that that part of it has been lost in society, if it is a true reflection of how these things are meant to be. And while he has the wealth, because the ladies that are, well, the women that were talking in that forum were emphasizing that it was men who could afford to have extra women, and afford not only because they were going to maintain these women, but because they were going to have children by these women, so they would be able to sustain a healthy family setting that would keep their family going, obviously provide for their families. So if you didn't have the means, you couldn't really be in a polygamous marriage, which it seems obviously the main character does have the means, even though he's not the wisest with his spend. But he did have the means, but he didn't go about it the right way, which is why then I guess it landed up in illness, in strife, in all of these kind of things that are explored in the book. Overall though, I give kudos to Sue Nyathi for a debut novel. This really was quite a nice read, an easy read, one that flowed, that made sense. And I love the fact that she explored the perspectives of all of her characters. I didn't expect the main character, or rather I call him the main character because the narrative centers around him, but we don't see from his point of view until the very end. And by the time we see from his point of view, I really didn't expect to have his voice in the story. I won't say whether or not it added much of a difference, because I think the things that he was saying we kind of already got, but I don't think that was her point. I don't think that was the writer's point. I think that the writer's point was to affirm those voices in our heads that were going on as we were reading the story, and to also give a male perspective to the story that has a lot of pain from a woman's perspective. So it was a very interesting story. There was a lot of shock, horror moments, and there was some humor in it as well. So I really did enjoy this. I think I would rate it a good 4 out of 5 stars. It was a very good read. I really enjoyed it, and like I'm saying, kudos to Sue Nyathi. Let me not ramble any further. This was a nice read. It was a great time spent on a Saturday, and I truly enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. And if you haven't picked it up, I would suggest that you pick it up. Like I'm saying, it's an easy read. It's interesting. It talks to a lot of things, and the way that Sue Nyathi has refreshed her approach, refreshed the approach to HIV stories in this is really quite commendable. And yeah, I think she really did very well. And with that said, thank you so very much for stopping by, choosing me, and as always, please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and until next time, I really love you guys. Bye now.